All right. Welcome back to the First Brothers podcast. It's your boy Munza Kristan back in the cut with my two brothers and Kosi and Samson. What is goody? What is goody, brothers? Glad to be back here with the boys. Listener, today in this episode, we're talking about Manchester United and their game against Ipswich. This was Mr. Ruben Amorim's first game in charge, official first game in charge of Manchester United. The result was 1-1. Ipswich held them. So yeah, I thought this would be a good opportunity for us to discuss what we saw from the game, what work Mr. Amorim has to do, and yeah, just our predictions on whether this guy can actually handle the pressure, handle the Premier League. So anyway, yeah, so we're gonna just jump right into it. Let me actually start with the boy Samson, man. As we're watching that game, could you actually see what Ruben was trying to do? Like, is that something that you saw from the jump? You know what? Actually, before we even start in that way, let's maybe just look at his formation, and then Samson, I just want to hear your comments on what you thought about the formation that he put out. So, listener, we're just gonna show the young formation here of the boy, Mr. Ruben Amorim, and just discuss like how we found it to be. So let's start right here. All right, so Samson, there you go, man. Over to you.
The one thing that surprised me is that I didn't expect him to pick Ahmad uh, as like a right wing back essentially. I thought those roles would be, like the two wing back roles would be like for more defensive minded players, but I did hear in the commentary that he does prefer having one be much more attacking than the other. So maybe the Ahmad thing makes sense there. But mainly because I thought for sure Rashford, Fernandez, or Garnacho, one of them would drop out of the front three. I like I didn't I don't think Rashford is their best striker. I think he's their best winger probably. And him and Garnacho are good wingers. So like the two positions behind the striker, I thought those would be the two they'd be going into. But you have Xerxes, you have Hoyland, Fit. I figured this formation requires that kind of striker, that person with that presence who can help link up play. But yeah, they looked okay, to be honest. I think what helped them was that Ipswich was really attacking and taking the game to them, so they found a lot of opportunities on the counter attack. But yeah, I thought they looked solid, but the the issue is I don't think they are as I don't think he knows how they're gonna create chances really, and I don't think he knows exactly if he can rely on his players to defend. Because I mean, the goal that was conceded, was a screamer, but it's like, you know, maybe we could have maybe we could have closed them down. It's one of those because I think Mazraoui even got a touch on it. So like something could have been done, but so yeah, I think it just shows the work he has to do. It's a work in progress.
I just have to say though, Sangi, that let's not act as if it wasn't for that goal, um, Man United would have won that game. To be honest, Delap missed at least three good opportunities to score. First one, he literally shot the ball straight at Onana. People are trying to praise Onana. He had a good game, but at the same time, the brothers there in the front of that Ipswich attack, man. Like if that was anybody else, you put it to the side. I don't know why he shot it with power straight at Onana. I don't know. But he had so many opportunities to score. And if I was to personally give my opinion on this formation, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. Like, sure, in the first minute, that's the thing. As soon as they scored as early as they did, I was like, damn, Man United fans are gonna take this moment and run with it and say, "This is it. Here we are." And I was, and then we saw the real Man United literally like 10 minutes later. Rashford, oh my God, nowhere to be found. That midfield was getting killed mercilessly. Like Casemiro and Ericsson and Evans, man. Ah man, let's not lie to ourselves here, man. Like they did not have the facilities. They did not have the facilities to handle this. Fernandez as well. He didn't really have much of an impact in the game. Ahmad is the only person that I saw trying his hardest, but even then, man, I don't know. So to me, I think this formation, given the quality of players he has, is not gonna work. Rashford is not gonna do what he needs to do. But anyway, I think Mangoro might have a different perspective or maybe a deeper analysis of this. So I'll hand it over to the boy Mangoro.
You were speaking of the midfield there. Shout out to a young Shema Joel in the comment section there. He mentions that, or she mentions that, that midfield of Casemiro and Ericsson will never work no matter what. And I agree with that wise individual because when we saw this team, I even forgot that this team looked like this. It was just not going to work because there's just so many things that where you can see there's an imbalance. Because starting off with Dallo, Evans, and Delict. Delict can't play on that left hand side. He's not left footed. Dallo is a right wing back. And if he's insisting on playing, I know they're playing Ipswich. I do understand that aspect that they're playing Ipswich, but there's no way in hell is going to play a proper team, a top 10 team. He's going to play Ahmad and Mazraoui there. He will be cooked. He will be cooked. Like that will be finished. Finished. Rashford, I didn't even think the goal. I don't even know if he was actually trying to score there or he was still trying to control the ball. Because like Muric was like he was confused. So there's just so many things where he has to fix. In my opinion, after I watched the game and I heard him talk in the press conference, talk about that the players were overthinking and they were not playing. I think the last week or so since he's come in, he's given them a lot of information, and some of them will make it, some of them won't. And he was talking about how in the next weeks they're going to be on the training ground and they're going to be understanding his way of play. And in my personal opinion, he's taking the wrong approach. He needed last night to be speaking to Dan Ashworth and the people upstairs and asking for 1 billion. Like he needs players. He needs from, and I literally say this from the back all the way to the front. He needs a brand new first 11. This first 11 is just not going to cut it. And even the players out, I think those players should be squad players. Like he needs massive reinvestment. And also Jim said 4 transfer windows. I think they need at least 6, like in terms of to bring in players because there's a lot wrong here. Because when you think about it, just the balance in a 3-4-2-1 system, the two areas of the key of the field that are very key. Number one is the wing backs. Ahmad is playing as a wing back. He's left footed on the right hand side, so if he needs to cross, he can't cross with his right. So the balance is off. Mazraoui is also inverted on the other side. Very, very confusing. He's right footed, playing on the left. How is he going to cross? How is he going to get inside? That's an issue. The other thing, which I saw him later on, which if he tries to do that again, it's not going to work. It's going to be dismantled. Garnacho, I don't know if Garnacho really has a position there where he was playing yesterday, and like that withdrawn 10, the shadow striker in the pocket. Like he Garnacho's a natural winger because you saw him once he went to the wing, he looked comfortable. Once he was dragging players out to the wing, he looked comfortable. But in operating in these tight spaces, it was not working. They need at least 2 number 10s, like to come and give them something different. Actual number 10s who can play in that area. Rashford is not it. Like as a striker. Like Rashford is not a striker. And then the midfield of the old men there, like you saw it. Like I think they were eliminated not long into the second half. Like when then you dropped Bruno into midfield, which to me was not good behavior. That was criminal behavior from Ruben. Like in all honesty, that was not going to work. But all in all, like he's giving them information. The positive is he's giving them the information. The setup is already there. They're already starting on it. It's not like it's going to continue on Ten Hag's ways and then change slowly. The good thing is he's instilling it immediately. His main problem is going to be the personnel. He's right now it's square pegs and round holes, basically. And we know how that story ends. We've seen it before with other teams. They've tried to do it. It's not going to work. He needs to strike a balance so that everyone is in the correct position. That's my take on it. I also saw that Roy Keane mentioned that they're an average team from what he saw this past weekend, and I do agree with him. But I think maybe training time and to start putting players in the correct positions, they're going to improve.
Just to support what you're saying there, Mangoro. So Owen Hargreaves afterwards, when he was speaking on Ruben Amorim, he said he was in front of me and he was really frustrated. I'm not going to lie. He wasn't happy with Dallow's positioning in the first half. Xerxes' positioning in the second half made him a bit frustrated as well. Many of these players won't be playing in 3, 4, or 5 weeks' time. That's what Owen Hargreaves said about this current squad. And I will have to say, Xerxes came on. Holgen came on. The two strikers. What did we see from them? Absolutely nothing. I know we're saying that Rashford is not a striker, but at the same time, I don't know if there would have been a difference if, let's say, Xerxes was started or if Hojan was started. Like, what difference that would have made? I still don't see it because a lot of Man United fans have wanted to see Xerxes and Hojan play at the same time. Ten Hag never did that. Amorim was like, I bet, chuck them in there. Let's see what they can cook. They cooked absolutely nothing. Xerxes, I don't know where they picked him up from. That's SpongeBob SquarePants motherfucker, but he is not it. He's slow. As soon as he gets the ball and he's under pressure, he shoots. He's like, yo, get this ball away from me. I don't want to handle it. So, Garnacho as well. A lot of criticism about Garnacho is, yes, he loves the wing and he's playing, but ultimately, the biggest problem with Garnacho is he does not look up and pass. That's his biggest problem. He will not. He will get in a great position, and then he will start thinking to himself, let me try a little something over here. He will see someone wide open. He will see like, okay, I can, if I just ping this ball to whoever, it most likely go. But it's like, you know what? Let me. I don't know. I don't know what happens in his brain. I don't know what happens in Ganacho's brain, but he does not pass the ball. He does not pass the ball. He does not care. He does not look up. Nothing. So, um, anyway, so maybe Samson, you can speak to this as well. Like, so based on what you saw, I know that they're saying many of these players won't be there. Who did you see this system benefiting more? Like, who do you think you saw in that game and you're like, okay, I can actually see the potential here. You have a future in this system that he's trying to implement. Like, was there anyone that stood out to you?
Um, it's hard to say because I feel like if you like, you're talking about players not being in their positions in all parts of the pitch, right? So it's almost like, well, next game if they don't play a right back as one of the center backs, does that change something? If they play Ugarte and Casemiro together, does that change something? If you change whether you're playing Garnacho or Rashford, instead of both, does that change something? So it's hard to say now because like he could make a change like that and it works out, or he could stay the same and this works out. But I don't think that's going to work out. But I'm just but I feel like he still has room to experiment here with or like just use different players in combination with other ones. Like you spoke about Xerxes and Hoyland that didn't touch the pitch together for a significant amount of time. Maybe that's not the combination either. Maybe Hoyland Rashford, in that system. Um, do I think Diallo was okay, but on the other side, maybe have someone who can compensate and be, a bit more defensive and have a third center back, have Ugarte. Like, I feel like there's things he can do to at least stop teams like Ipswich from controlling the game. I feel like you don't have to do, you know, crazy amounts to do that, like to just stop counter attacks from Ipswich. Because I mean, Liam Delap is good, but I'm not sure if you guys saw this. There's a counter attack opportunity where he got the ball through the middle, and Liam Delap alone, like just him, he dribbled with the ball. through Casemiro and Ericsson, going towards the defense. And when he saw a gap, he did a through ball to the right wing, ran into the box, got on the end of it. And I'm like, he's good, but he's not that good. Like you can't, like you're making him look like he's messy. Like you can't, like someone has to be able to stop that. Like because it was just a simple ball over the top, and he still has to beat three people. Like it, come on. So yeah, I feel like if you change the personnel and just try different combinations, maybe you'll be able to just gain better control of a game, and maybe that helps the attack then create chances. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. He still has, you know, this is the busiest time of the year, so we'll see.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out to the Ipswich players, as Samson just mentioned there. As much as we can talk about Manchester United, I think we should also give a shout out to some of their players, like especially like most of them, like it's in their first season in the Premier League. Like Liam Delap, he's looked pretty decent. He scored, I'd say, a good number of goals, probably like 7 or something. That's a good chunk for a team that struggles in the bottom half of the table. Like the way he's playing, like he did very well yesterday. Another one that I do want to shout out also his first season is Omari Hutchinson. Like he actually used to be in the Arsenal academy, then he moved over to the Chelsea academy. So he and now he's at Ipswich, and now they're seeing their quality, this quality of this young man. But so if I was Ruben Amorim's assistant, one of his many assistants that he has, that apparently has 5 of them. I don't know what they do, but he has 5 of them. The system in itself, I do agree with it, but if he's listening, Ruben Amorim, this is just my take on the team that he's supposed to put forward that will give him success for the season. But then him and Sir Jim and all the leaders at the club, they need to invest heavily. Like when I say 1 billion, they need 1 billion to spend. Starting off, okay, I don't mind Onana in the goal, but a back three for me, the back three on the left for balance should be Lissandro. As much as I don't rate him for what he did to Cole Palmer, I'd put him on the left, and then I'd put Delict in the middle so that he can be protected. Because when he's in a two, he starts doing other things. But when he's in the middle of a three, he and his boy can I think he can he's ball playing enough. He's decent. He's not the greatest, but he's ball playing enough. He can play in that position. And on the right, I would add Lenny Yoro when he's fully fit. From a back three perspective, that works. Yesterday, when you fielded Casemiro and Ericsson, those two box to box positions in the midfield, they need people that run, and I can safely say those two brothers are not runners. So I do believe that he needs to bring his boy Okate in there alongside Kobe. Like have Kobe Mainu alongside. They can get in the leg. They have the legs there. On the left, wing back for balance and for going up and down, I would have Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw is probably like a good fit. Another one that is low key underrated, but you'd actually do a job for Manchester United. I don't know why they're not looking at him. It's Ben Chilwell. He's not playing at Chelsea, and we saw him when he was playing wing back. He's one of the best wing backs in the league, like in terms of like playing wing back, and he's used to and he's accustomed to that position. He's not currently playing, so if they want to chuck a bit there, the Chelsea seem ready to let him go, so that's a good option. But Luke Shaw is pretty good there. On the right, I would put Dallo. He's more attacking, so I know that Amarin wants it either between the two wing backs, one of them to be more attacking. So um, I think the guy Dallo would be good there for the attacking side, and then Shaw would be more on the defensive side. It would get him that balance that he's looking for. And then the two number 10s, the ones that are going to play in between the lines and the pockets, as I like to call them, the pockets where they'll be feeding the strikers, or they'll be playing it out wide, or they'll be getting in the box to support the striker from crosses or cutbacks. I'll still put Bruno. He can see a pass like in that number 10 position. That's number one. Another one that is forgotten, but I still believe that he can play that pocket position very well. We've seen him play it well, is Mason Mount. I do believe in Mason Mount. Like he can play that position because these are the players that they have like it's not gonna work. Like right now, the other guys that are playing in those positions not going to work. And then up front, where there's a huge dilemma, I don't believe in any of the strikers they have to actually play strike. I think first signing, I know he didn't. I know he said he's not going to do it. I know this January, like it's in a couple of days, it's a couple of months' time. This January, he needs to bring in Victor Yokeres and put him up front there. Because Rashford, Hoyland, Xerxes, they're just not it. Like, they're not it. So he needs to, if he can take the players that I've mentioned and put together this team, it's going to move up the table. But if he continues with these ways that he's currently showing us now, they'll still be 13th or wherever they are. They're because yesterday we were watching, and it's just facts. These are facts. This is not a joke, but we're watching a bottom half fixture. That's what we're watching. Two bottom half teams were playing each other yesterday, and there were a lot of eyes on that game. So if he continues in this vein of form with these players he's putting in and giving them this much information, they're going to stay there, and they're not going to get airtime. And then they're going to stay there, and then now he's going to wilt. His confidence is going to go down. But if he listens to the Forest Brothers podcast, I maintain this. Like, he'll definitely move up the table. But at the end of the day, this is just my opinion. I'm not Ruben Amorim or say Jim Radcliffe or the people at Manchester United. I've just put forward a team that I think would give him something. We'll see how he decides to field in the next game, whatever they have playing.
I do hope that they're listening. And I will say, if you took off that Manchester United name and that Ipswich name, the quality of what we saw yesterday, you will think that, okay, this is probably number 16 and 17 battling it out. All right, maybe 14 and 15. Take those two names out, you're not saying much. In fact, you'd even think that Ipswich is like number 10 and Man United is like number 17. Like that, you think like, oh my God, United survived that? Well done, guys. Okay. So anyway, also I just want to point out it's hilarious. I've never heard Mangoro want a Chelsea player to move somewhere. That way he just talked about Ben Chilwell. Just that fact tells me that Mangoro does not rate Chilwell. So Amorim, if you're listening to this, don't bring. No way would Mangoro say he's the best left wing back and say go to another team, bro. Anyway, I just thought that was funny. But something that I think that deserves a conversation, and in my prior conversations with other Man United fans, they didn't think there was a story here. But I think that there's no objectivity when it comes to Man United fans. I even told them, I'm not going to talk about this. But this was before the Ipswich game. And then after the Ipswich game, I was like, no. We actually have to discuss this. So, listener, right before during international break, Mr. Marcus Rashford and our other brother Casemiro left the UK, took a flight over to New York. Rashford was watching the Knicks game. Apparently, Casemiro was at Disney with his family, apparently. And I, for one, saw this and I said, why is that brother over there? What's he doing? Why are you in New York watching a basketball game? What's going on? And I posed this question to the group chat that is my fellow Man United fans, and they said, bro, let the man live his life. What is wrong with you? It's a break. It's a holiday. He can go out and enjoy himself. It's only an 8-hour flight. He wants a jet lag. He's training in New York. You're a hater. You're hating on Rashford. What is wrong with you? Let the brother live. And I said, come on, guys. Objectivity, please. It's international break. Your teammates and your other peers are in their respective countries playing football. They're not on holiday. You, my friend, are in the worst form of your life. Sure, you have peaks and valleys, but you're not doing well. Your team is 12th, 13th in the league table. You have a new coach coming in. You just suffered Ten Hag. Stay home. Play FIFA if you have to. Stay in the darkness. Go to the stadium. Train. Do some rocky shit and run up some stairs in Buckingham Palace. I do not know. But don't leave the country to go watch the next game showing us that you have a nice LV sweater. Okay, sure. It looked nice, but you should not have been there. Casemiro, I don't know what the fuck you're doing in Disney with your family. This was not a holiday. Anyway, you already know my position, but I would love the listeners to also hear from you two brothers, starting with you, Samson, and then, of course, like this thing about these two brothers leaving the UK to go do some other stuff. And, I thought I was hating, And then, of course, when Rashford came on and he scored his goal, I was like, they felt so absorbed. They're like, Lucy. But then after that, where was he? He got subbed off in the 55th minute. What a shit game that brother had. Anyway, I don't want to ramble too much on this because I've said my piece, but I want to give the floor to Samson too. You tell me, man. Am I hating?
No, no, I don't think so. I think it's valid because, and before we even get to the fact that he was at a Knicks game, I don't know. Like for me, it's like just from like a pride perspective, you know, Rashford. I'm sure when he thinks of himself in the same way he thinks of Harry Kane. Like that's his colleague, that's his equal. You know, like but and he was in the England team for so long. Like he was there, and he didn't miss out. And the past few ones, like injured, fit, whatever, like it doesn't matter. Rashford said has just scored a banger. Doesn't matter. He's just don't know what to call him. So it's like I don't know, man. Like I want like it's like do you not care? Like it's one of those things. Like do you? I don't know if he cares because like I mean, new coach, your 13th first session. Like I mean, come on, like right? Like I mean, you'd think that like a player like Rashford, a player like Casemiro, they're approaching the first game with the new coach against a team that's going to be fighting relegation all season, a team that Manchester United should be beating any day of the week. You would think that your leaders would be spending, you know, the week and a half before, if they could, just with the new coach, just trying to absorb as much information as possible to be better leaders on the pitch. And these guys are in another country chilling. It's like, I mean, come on, man. You come back. You mentioned you come back jet lagged. You're tired. Like got off on the 55th. Like it's come on, man. Like you're supposed to be a leader. You're supposed to be like the one everyone's counting on. Like when things are not working, when things are still unclear, it's a new system. You're the guy who can just transcend systems, right? You're the guy who has all the talent. Like we need you, and it's just whatever. It's like I'll be in New York. I just I just thought it was very unprofessional. Just you know, so yeah, that's all I can say.
I'll start off with I'd say an unpopular take. In that I'll say I understand them, like in terms of like just going out now, in terms of like Rashford going to the next game and Casemiro going to Disney with his family. I understand that because there'll be a lot of games in December and January. They'll be playing soccer, so we won't have time to be free and out and about. I do understand that point. Like I do see where they're coming from. But the question I then ask myself, you make all this money at Manchester United. Is this the last next game that is available for you to go see? Number one. Now I'm painting the other side of the picture. Number two, for Casemiro, he can take his family anytime to Disney. There's this thing where they mention you need to read the room, read the situation at the club. The situation is dire. Now, think about it. How many Manchester United fans have seen this? Like, I've seen this thing come out, and they're like, each season I support this team. I've supported them through all the dark times. And my players, what are they doing? They're going out, they don't care. How are they supposed to feel in that regard? Because when you support a team and you every season, imagine season ticket holders that live in the UK, they go watch the team week in and week out. They lose, they win, they're there, mostly losing, but they're there. And now you're telling me that it's okay for you to go out to those places, in this situation where now there could be some sort of hope of rejuvenation with this new manager, the new structure, and all of a sudden you decide that no, us will go out, we'll be seen in public, we'll be across the country, we'll be doing all sorts of things, and then now you come back, you put up that performance, you haven't finished the game. Now people justify that, oh, actually, they because they were away. This is the result of that. Like, how are you supposed to feel as a fan when the person that, when you buy your ticket, you're inadvertently paying their salary? This is how they repay you. They go to New York. I do understand they want to go to New York and everything. There are people at the end of the day who understand that. But in the current situation the club is in, if the club was winning, I can safely say if the club was winning trophies, they were performing well, and they were doing all these things, no one would be saying anything. But in this situation, in critical moments such as these, where there's a new manager in town, they should look at themselves. They think about the other teammates. What about all the other teammates that were back at the training ground? How are they feeling? And this whole thing of people saying they were training in New York or training wherever, I don't like that. That is very false. Doing a kick up out there in some other field there and hitting shots at the goal with no keeper is not training. Please, once someone says I was away, there was no proper training regime, you're not training. You're probably doing a few laps and then you're gonna then we know these things, we've seen the videos. They're not doing anything. It's just some summer little workout, probably lasting like 30 minutes. But you're not training. That is not training. Like, people need to get that right. So that is just not okay. So in my opinion, if I was them, I would say it's okay to do these things, but understand the situation. If when the time is right, you can go. The season will end. You get a break sometime January, February, March. You get a break. You can go do it as well. But I still do. I do want to sympathize with the players, but also at the same time, I do want to reprimand them and say this is not okay.
You know what? If Rashford, for example, had gone to Dubai and it's like, I just want to get away from this weather and just train in the sun, I'd be like, perfect. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Maybe you're going to go train with Ronaldo in Saudi. Sure. 100%. Go ahead. I mean, I'll be quiet. I'll be like, all right, that makes sense to me. You want to be warm, but you go to fucking New York in November. It's cold as bricks. You're gonna go watch the Knicks, who fucking suck, by the way. He's not going to watch the Lakers. He's not going to watch. He went to watch the Knicks. All right. To me, I'm like, Rashford. Like, Casemiro, I might even have a bit more sympathy for Casemiro because, number one, he's won everything he needs to win. He's older. You know, he's missed a lot of his children's lives in his long career. Sure, take the fan with Disney. That's fine. We know you're on the way out. We know that United is your retirement home. Like, that's fine. For me, it's okay. But Rashford, my guy, like, you're supposed to be the face of, the club. You've been the face of the club. They're looking at you. And you're in New York. Vibing. He didn't even take any of the young players with him. It didn't even sound like it was a bonding. If I saw Rashford Amorim in New York as like a bonding coach, let's just take some time, watch a basketball game, get to know each other a little bit. I won't say shit. I'm cool. He takes a young player with him. Like, yeah, I just want to like take my young boy with me, under my wing type shit. Take Xerxes with you. All right, maybe. Man is there by himself, living life. So, yeah, and as you said, Mangoro, if they were winning, I'd have been like, it wouldn't be a story. But the fact that, yeah, they're not in a great place and you're still doing that, to me, it was just tone deaf. To me, it was unprofessional, as you said, Samson. To me, it was just a lack of care. And even the commentators, when Rashford came off, they're like, that brother does not look like he gives a fuck right now. Like, he does not look like he actually cares. Like, there's no heart in it. Like, he's just a shell. And before, I used to think that the media bagged on Rashford too much. Like, especially like there's a time when he crashed his Rolls Royce, or there's a time when Ten Hag was punishing him for partying late. So I don't know if what's happening in Rashford's life. I don't know if like maybe there's some. I don't think it's a mental health thing. I'm not sure, but to me, it's starting to feel like he doesn't really have that. Just does not care. I think he's now living his rich young nigga life. That's what he's doing now. I think that's his thing. And if he wants to do that, by all means, go and do that. But like, just leave the football behind if that's what you're trying to do. So that's just my opinion on that. But if he really cares, come on, man, put your head down, work, like just work. Prove us wrong. Anyway, that's my extra 2 cents on that. Samson, did you have something to add?
Yeah, man, just go to training, work, like you said, just work. Like, spend as much time as possible with the new coach, take some responsibility because, I mean, we talk about having leaders and how important that is on the pitch. You can have all the talented players, like Ganacho's a talented player, but in times where, you actually need to score a goal, you need to, you know, just win the game. Every team has its key players, and those are the players everyone is looking to. So even like psychologically speaking, like Garnacho might be having a good game, but then he sees Rashford not having a good game, and their chemistry on the pitch isn't there. So that also makes Garnacho bad because he's not at that level of talent where he can also just carry you. So it's like, if you don't go, who's going? Who's gonna win the game? Who's gonna try something? Who's gonna, like, I can't imagine, I'm watching the game and that's Odegaard. Like, I'd lose my mind. Like, my leader is doing, like, oh my god. But yeah, yeah, he's just he has to do better than this, in my opinion. Like, he just has to.
Yeah, and lastly, just on this, Manchester United play Everton in the next game on the 29th of November. So Amorim has gotten 2 easy games to kind of start with. So maybe we'll see something new. Maybe we'll see the different changes. Maybe Amorim, I know you listen to the Forest Brothers podcast. Please take Mangoro's words to heart. Please try that, and I'm sure we'll see some success. So, and no one is paying us to tell you this. This is just coming from a very objective point of view. Just listen to what the brother has to say. He's very wise, that brother. He'll guide you to something. He'll guide you to something. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see some new changes. And I guess don't even give us credit. Don't go in that interview and say the Forest Brothers. Those brothers don't even have to do that. You don't have, just we'll know. It's okay. But anyway, I think that's a good a good conversation on Man United and Amorim's first game in charge. So listen and let us know in the comments if we left anything out. Love to hear from you. Also, like, subscribe, share the episode, all the good stuff. And yeah, that's it from me. Mangoro, Samson, any parting words? I'll throw it to the boy Mangoro, and then Samson can close it out.
Just to add on to your point there, Mr. Muta, Mr. Ruben Amorim, I am currently available. So if you need a new coach, you need a tactics coach, you need an analyst, I do specialize in those services. So let me know, and we'll do a few things there. But all in all, listener, as Muta mentioned, do the right things, like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to do all those good things. Road to 200 subscribers. We need more. We need more subscribers. We'll bring you more great content. So, listener, be sure to do the right thing. And as I always mention, in 2024 and 2025 season, it's Maresca way.
Yeah, and just to the United fans, I think the standard you should hold your players to is being able to beat Ipswich. But if this was Fulham, if this was Brighton, if this was like any of those teams that you're gonna be realistically competing for position for, like anyone between eighth and where you are at, if any of those teams beat you, fine. Teams in the relegation zone, man, this cannot go on. I'll tell you that, man. This cannot go on. But yeah, that's it for me.
And please learn objectivity, United fans. There's nothing wrong with holding your players accountable. It's actually a good thing because they'll listen. If you just look at Rashford and just does what he does, and be like, that's fine, man. You kick the ball around a little bit in New York, we give you a pass. Then he was not gonna care anymore. So anyway, that's just my last 2 cents on that. Be objective. Actually, objectively hold your players accountable. That's it. That's it. That's all we're here for. Anyway, with that, thank you so much, listener. Hopefully you don't get too angry with what we've said today, but this is supposed to be good advice. Anyway, with that, we will catch you in the next one, listener, and peace out.